हेलो दोस्तों आज हम इस वीडियो में बात करेंगे कि बिटकॉइन की जो एक एग्रेसिव प्राइस रैली हुई है उसके पीछे क्या कारण हो सकते हैं और फ्यूचर में भी बिटकॉइन जो है वो किन ऊंचाइयों पे छू सकता है और कहां तक जा सकता है। इसके अलावा मैं आपको ये बताना चाहूँगा कि ये वीडियो जो है ये एक इन्वेस्टमेंट एडवाइस नहीं है। ये आप सिर्फ जो कहते हैं डू योर ओन रिसर्च उसके रेफरेंस के लिए ले सकते हैं। बाकी आपको डिसीजन अपना खुद का लेना है, ये किसी इन्वेस्टमेंट एडवाइस नहीं है और आपको कोई भी इन्वेस्टमेंट करने से पहले अपने इन्वेस्टमेंट एडवाइज़र से बात करनी होगी। दोस्तों जैसे यहाँ पे लिखा है बिटकॉइन विल रीच $200K और यहाँ $300K के बीच में बाय द एंड ऑफ 2022। तो इसके साथ ही इस जो भी ये इस पे आदमी ने आर्टिकल लिखा है उसका ये कहना है कि हमने एक ऐसी रिसर्च की थी कि जिसमें ये पाया गया कि मोर देन 700 हाई नेटवर्थ इंडिविजुअल्स ने किया कि 70% ऑफ द रिस्पोंडेंट्स आर बुलिश टुवर्ड्स क्रिप्टो करेंसी और 2019 के मुकाबले ये 68% ज़्यादा था। तो दोस्तों अब ये सवाल उठ चुका है कि बिटकॉइन जो है यहाँ से क्या प्राइस में जाएगा। तो ये तो कोई भी नहीं आपको बता सकता। होने को बिटकॉइन यहाँ से करेक्शन भी ले सकता है अच्छी खासी, होने को यहाँ से किसी भी ऊंचाई पे जा सकता है। तो इसी के साथ तो मैं आपको ये एक छोटा सा एक वीडियो दिखाना चाहूँगा। इंडस्ट्री के जो एक्सपर्ट्स लोग हैं जो इस इंडस्ट्री में काफ़ी देर से हैं, शायद आपने उनका नाम भी सुना हो। एंथनी पोम्प्लियानो की एक छोटी सी क्लिप मैं आपको दिखाऊंगा जिसमें कि उन्होंने अपने व्यूज़ दिए हैं। तो आप मेरे को कमेंट करके बताइएगा कि आपको क्या लगता है बिटकॉइन की प्राइस कहाँ तक जाएगी।
High price. Joining us to discuss this and where cryptocurrency goes from here is Anthony Pompliano. He is the co-founder and partner of Morgan Creek Digital Assets. Good morning to you. We haven't seen you in a bit now, and a lot has happened since we've seen you in terms of where this has gone. Where do you think it's headed? Has it moved too fast? That is the question of the morning.
Absolutely. Well, good morning to everyone. Thanks for having me. I think the key piece here, and we've been talking about this now for almost 2 years, is just, Bitcoin is the kind of winner of a supply and demand exercise. And if you look at what happened in May, we had the Bitcoin halving. Obviously, the 1,800 Bitcoin a day went down to 900 coming into the circulating supply. And at the same time, we've had this macro environment that has forced people to look for inflation hedge assets. So you had capital flows due to the fear of inflation. And then also you've had many big buyers come into the market. So whether it's Square, PayPal, GBTC, et cetera, there's a new study that came out, I think from Pantera Capital, that said Square's buying up about 40% of the daily new incoming supply. PayPal already, even though they just launched, is buying up about 70% of that supply. And I think the key piece is people coming from the Wall Street kind of investing world have to understand is that most Bitcoiners are not going to sell their Bitcoin. Right, 63% or more of the Bitcoin hasn't moved in the last 12 months. And so what you're really seeing is just increase in demand. There's a lack of supply or a low supply, and that's driving the price higher. And I think that'll kind of continue going into 2021, and the price will appreciate pretty aggressively from here.
When you say aggressively, what do you think is fair value for Bitcoin, and how would you get there?
Yeah, fair value is always a hard one because everyone uses different kind of metrics. Earlier this year, I started talking about once we kind of saw what the macro environment was going to do, I really talked about it as kind of rocket fuel for Bitcoin's price. You basically dropped interest rates to zero. You printed a bunch of money. If you even look at ththings like, Janet Yellen becoming the Treasury Secretary, she's notorious for kind of being okay with higher levels of inflation. The Federal Reserve targeting over 2% inflation for a sustained period of time. And so I don't think it's, that crazy to see $100,000 Bitcoin price by the end of 2021. And if we continue to get bigger and bigger buyers, right? Many of the largest hedge funds in the world are now starting to get exposure to the asset. You see people like the Stanley Druckenmillers, the Bill Millers, Paul Tudor Joneses coming in. If this kind of tips over and all of a sudden it becomes kind of a consensus trade, it wouldn't surprise me to see something even higher than $100,000. And it's kind of
okay. Give me your. I know you're very bullish, but give me the thing that would keep you up at night. What would turn it the other way?
Yeah, I always talk about the first thing is a self-inflicted wound, right? If there was a bug introduced into the code or something like that. The second thing would be some sort of geopolitical risk where we saw really, really aggressive, coordinated kind of action by multiple nation states. But again, I think that those things are very low probability of occurring. So it doesn't really kind of seem like that's going to happen in the short term.